Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here for my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work without you guys. Let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football guys. Wake up here this morning. Um, Let me thank everybody for all of the condolences about losing my brother. I appreciate that because, you know, um, I debated on whether or not to do any videos today or not, but I realized that you guys are my therapy. And I'm definitely stronger with having you guys here to communicate with. Um, and I appreciate everybody reaching out and all the well wishes, the thoughts, the prayers, and even my man E2 Blue. I appreciate that as well. There's too many of you to thank. But sadly, I'm not the only one that's been dealing with situations. I saw somebody in Mexico who that his father's on a ventilator and they don't think he was going to make it through the night. And we've lost too many loved ones and too many family members that in the end, we all we got. So, like I always try and do at the end of every day, is do my end of the day video and um, be thankful for the day that I have and let everybody know how I feel about them because you just don't know when your time's up. My brother, the picture I posted on Instagram literally was only a few months ago. The last thing in the world, I thought the last time that I saw him that I wasn't going to be able to see him in a couple months anymore. Things change quickly. So hold on to your relationships, your friendships, and things like that. Because the way when a person goes, the way they live on is in the hearts and the minds and the memories of people. And remember that every day of your life, you are writing your obituary. So, with that being said, let's get on to the Dallas Cowboys. Yesterday, Tyrone Crawford was put on the COVID list. He's now there with Andy Dalton. And more than likely, unless they end up having complications from COVID where it becomes full blown, they would be ready to be able to come back next week to play. On the other side of this, the Cowboys re-signed a prospect that they really liked in Rondell Carter from JMU. Yes, another JMU Duke pass rusher. He was on our practice squad. He got poached. And maybe there's something to Mike McCarthy and his whole thing of having scrimmages where you didn't have numbers on it. So if you saw somebody, playing well in a scrimmage that hopefully you didn't lose him, well, we lost him, but the Cowboys were able to get him back, and they definitely like having him in the mix. And I, for one, am one of those guys that at this point in the season, with 7 games left, and make no mistake about it, the Cowboys, I hate to sound like Stephen Jones or Jerry Jones and say that, we're still in it, but we're still kind of in it. The Giants have shown some signs of life. They just don't know how to win in the fourth quarter. They're great for 3 quarters. Who's to say that they don't punch the Eagles in the mouth and get a victory there? And the Eagles have some really tough games. They got to play the Seahawks, the Browns, New Orleans, San Francisco. I mean, they literally have to run the gauntlet. No, I'm sorry, not San Francisco. But they have to run the gauntlet. Oh, Green Bay. It's not San Francisco. It's Green Bay. And they got to play Washington and Dallas. And I know it sounds crazy, and this is where I'm conflicted because rooting for Washington Giants or Eagles is literally like a punch in the gut. But the reality is you're actually rooting for the Giants this weekend. Because if the Giants win, A, it improves our draft position. B, it knocks those arrogant Eagles on their butts, but still gives you hope alive to make a playoff run. So it's really kind of the best of both worlds, which is kind of crazy when we think about it. So we have the great debate. Now, it's funny how people will condemn you without even digging in and understanding what you said. I did a video yesterday, just before I found out my brother had passed, going back through it and listening to Colin Cowherd's hierarchy of quarterbacks, going into the season, and where he was going through and talking about, all these quarterbacks, like, he'd take Sam Darnold over Dak Prescott and things like that, and Baker Mayfield and things. And I was going through there, and the title of the video was, "The Cowboys Can Just Draft Another Quarterback," which is kind of like, I don't know what the term is. I forgot what you call it, but it's being like cynical, okay? It wasn't that I was saying, oh yeah, we'll just draft another quarterback and let Dak walk. It was actually pointing out how difficult it is to get a quarterback. When you think that Sam Darnold is only in his second year, and they're looking at drafting another quarterback, and you think that Josh Rosen was the number one pick, and he's on the practice squad someplace. You think about the Washington team that drafted Kyler Murray, and they can't even trade the guy. And even when you think about going for, the 49ers thought they had the guy and getting Jimmy Garoppolo, they're interested in trying to find a quarterback. It's not an easy thing. So the title, I guess you could say, was clickbaity, but literally I had people on Instagram that are like, man, that's trash. It's trash. It's like, did you watch the video? Before you trash me, at least watch the video and see the point of view. Because we've gone through and we'll say, well, Dak Prescott, he's not like Russell Wilson. You see what Russell Wilson's doing, or Aaron Rodgers. But here's the thing about it. Have you noticed, when was the last time Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, or Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl? I think Russell Wilson was 2014, right? Wasn't Aaron Rodgers 2011 and Drew Brees 2010? Because it's more, and I'm not saying they're not great. They are. They're the pinnacle. They're the best quarterbacks in football. But understand, when Russell Wilson won it, Russell Wilson had the best defense in football that was also best at taking the football away. He didn't have to throw for 5,000 yards, which he's on pace to do this year. He was only throwing 3,200 yards because he had help from his defense. And you can look at Drew Brees, who has, I think, 5 or 6 seasons where there were 7-9 because the defense wasn't good. They had Rob Ryan over there as the defense coordinator, and they were the worst defense in football. And it showed with the team's results. And the problem for the Cowboys, because we have Cowboy fans that are, oh, Dak Prescott, he's not Russell Wilson, things like that. Look, he had 4 interceptions, or 3 or 4 interceptions and some fumbles and things like that, and he's the reason we lost the game. But here's the crazy thing. You have to understand football. You got to dig below the surface there and understand some things. Russell Wilson is MVP candidate, without a doubt. Like I said, he's on pace for, like 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards and everything else, and their team is winning. But do you know, in the course of the last 4 games, Russell Wilson has had 4 turnovers? That he's on pace to have 19 turnovers on the season. And I'm not saying this to trash Russell Wilson. I'm not. Russell Wilson is the bomb. Not only on the field, but off the field, because he uses his celebrity also for good, helping others out. He is the reason Seattle is where they are at 6-2. But understand this. When you are in shootouts where you're winning, having to have 37, 34 games, where your defense isn't doing their part, the more times you go to the well, more times you have to put the ball in the air, the more times you are going to get turnovers. It's just a fact. It's a fact. And this is where you look at Dak Prescott's situation, where our defense was historically bad, where we literally were giving up 36, 37 points in a game. and you're constantly having to pass and pass and pass, that automatically, because you're passing the ball more, is going to make those numbers look worse. Now, Carson Wentz on the other side, he's just a turnover machine. He's just a turnover machine because they're not putting up. It's Carson Wentz, I think, just finally passed Dak Prescott in yardage. Just passed him. That's how crazy it is. Dak played 3 less games and still has the same amount of yards. Okay, so you can't say it's because Carson Wentz is putting the ball in the air more times. It's just he's a turnover machine. But you look at the other side here. Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes has great weapons on offense. There's no doubt that he has some of the top weapons in football, and he makes them even better. Part of the reason why they're great weapons is because he's able to get him the ball. But on the other side of that, he's got a great coach that knows how to call a game, and he got a really good defense that is not allowing 38, 39 points every week, in which case you're more effective as a quarterback. You can be more balanced. And these things make a difference because I've literally got Cowboy fans that are going through and saying, forget Dak Prescott. Garrett Gilbert got those guys going. Garrett Gilbert, look, we were close against the Steelers. The team is responding to him. Well, the defense has helped step up. The special teams have helped step up. So when those guys step up, it doesn't put all of it completely on the quarterback. You have a little bit of margin to error, for room for error. And this is where you realize, if we can get our defense together, if we can get our special teams to perform at least as average, and we get our quarterback back and play, with our starting guys, the team could be a really, really good team. So that's all I got to say about that. I know we're going to hear all the trolls out there saying, how dare you talk about Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson in the same breath. But, Dak Prescott was on pace to blow what Russell Wilson is doing right now off the board, with the exception of touchdown passes. Better coach team. Better team. Healthier. I'm Mark Holmes, and again, I want to thank everybody for all you do to help me. I appreciate you.